fishing. People, when you're in the mood, let's go fishing. Well, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha, conquer outdoors. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Blue Cam, a cleaner running engine for a cleaner environment.
I love all kinds of fishing, but I love going out on a summer day, rigging the rods up with crankbaits and finding some weed beds. Lots of places in southern Ontario and even the northern part of the U.S. where you can target a variety of fish. It could be bass, it could be walleye, it could be pike, and even some surprises like muskie. But one of my favorite fish to target on the weed lines is none other than the walleye. These fish can feed like wolves when they suspend up off the bottom and move into these isolated weed lines and weed beds that are very close to deep water. So Cheryl,
yes.
What do you think of this walleye fishing?
Well, if I caught one, I'd be a little bit more excited.
You will?
Yes.
Now, could you do me a little favor?
Yeah, you want me to get the net?
If you don't mind.
Can I go behind you?
You're so polite, and just scoop them in there. Look at this. Now, this is what we're targeting. Yeah. Okay, it's a lot easier to release the fish here. You know, sometimes I use the net, but not this time. This guy hasn't been out of the water very long. That fish is probably about, I'm guessing, 16, 17 inches. Look, you can see how much power they have. Now, you know, it's such a nice day. I thought I'd invite my friend Cheryl Hopkins out. Cheryl works so hard. Cheryl, do you put in like 8 hours a day?
Absolutely.
Is it like a factory job?
It is. And you know what? The more you work in the industry, the less you get out on the water. So I'm so happy to be here.
I'm messing with you a little bit because I know what you've been doing for the last week and a half. What have you been doing? Tell the viewers the truth.
I've been fishing and
Where?
eating up at the cottage,
Yeah,
Lake of Bays.
I've seen all your foodie shots and stuff. Did you bring anything? Did you bring like any skewers, any steak?
No.
Oh, man, we got to get fish.
We do. Okay,
you did a great net job. Okay, you know what? Start casting.
Okay, I'm ready.
You know, a lot of anglers in the northern part of North America fish for walleye because they love to eat them. I mean, I love to eat fish, and walleye are a very mild tasting and a very nice, white, flaky flesh. But I love to find them, and especially find them when they're cruising and hunting for food. It's one thing to fish for walleye and using a jig and a plastic grub or even a live bait rig along the bottom, where you have to fish slow and the walleye can be kind of sluggish to get them to strike. I like casting crankbaits along weed line and weed beds when the fish are suspended and they're actually looking for smaller fish. One of their favorite food is perch, the yellow perch. And the crankbaits that we use look like yellow perch. So we just cast those and retrieve them steady. No need to twitch, to jerk, or do anything fancy. Just get them close to the weeds, crank steady, and all of a sudden, kabam, you got a walleye on. Cheryl, do you mind being the net girl again?
No problem.
Oh, this guy's almost off. I think he's only got one hook left in him. Look at you, perfect. He's a little bit bigger than the other one, too. Cheryl, well done. It looks like you've got a lot of netting experience.
Sure, not much catching.
Well, we're just getting started, remember.
Yes.
You know, so as explained to Cheryl, we're out probably from the shoreline, we got to be half a kilometer. You know, so when you talk about the sweet fishing, Cheryl, it can be fishing really close to shore, and later you'll see we're going to be 10 feet out from shore because the water drops off and the weeds are really narrow close to shore. Here the weeds come out 5 football fields and then they end. And the only way, like look at the water, it all looks the same. Yeah. The only way you know where the weed end is by looking at the sonar, right? To see if you see them on the sonar or not. Right. These walleye, by the way, I try to crank in pretty quick because they can throw the hook. This guy had the front hook in his mouth, but when they start thrashing, because these are very active walleye, they'll actually throw the hook very easy. Should I put them in the live well? That's a meal for 2 people.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, and they're great eating.
Perfect.
Okay. Cheryl, we're on a perfect weed line to use the bait cloud.
Yes.
So what I'm thinking here is that we drop a bait cloud about every 20 feet, right on the edge. What I did, I marked the waypoint where we started the drift here. So we're in about 12, 13 feet. You can see that with the weeds. Did you bring any bait cloud? I hope you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some right behind you there,
Okay,
just by the
so
console.
here, I'm gonna grab one. I'll wait till you're done. So I hope you brought enough, because what my strategy is, we're gonna drop a bait cloud about every 20, 30 feet, and we're not gonna be casting like where I dropped the bait cloud. We're actually gonna create a scent trail right down the weed line. And then we're gonna come back up, because we've got a little bit of a breeze, and fish the same area. So my intent is not to draw the walleye in with the bait cloud, to draw the perch, the bluegill, the pumpkin seed, which you're gonna draw, the walleye. So that's a secondary thing, and I think it's gonna work. So you go ahead. You can be the deployer.
Okay.
I'll be the caster, and I'm controlling the electric. Balls away, sorry. Nice throw. Good, look it, I love that. You can see it working. There it goes. Man, look at that nice stream. You know what, Cheryl?
What's that?
This is going to sound tacky. You just dropped the bait cloud in, and this is a bigger walleye. We got to deploy the second ball. This is awesome.
You need the net.
Would you? Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. They're getting bigger, Cheryl. Yeah, you can net it right there. Whoa! Did you get splashed, Cheryl?
No, just a little excited. Whoops.
Don't fall down. You get that fish. Get him in the net. Get him in the net.
There we go.
Good girl. Okay, we're gonna give that one to bait cloud.
Yeah,
okay?
he's a little
'Cause you just dropped
feistier.
the ball, and it's bigger. What are you up to? Do you want me to grab the fish, or why don't you grab the fish?
Okay.
Just underneath the gill plate, not in the gills.
Okay.
Just underneath the gill plate. Turn around to the camera.
Oh.
Yeah, don't drop them. Hold them up nice and high.
Okay. Do I
Yeah.
hold his body?
Yeah, you're doing great. You've caught lots of fish. What's this? Do I hold his body?
Okay, I've never caught a walleye before.
Yeah, look how nice and wide the back is.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some really nice fillets from that fish.
Beautiful.
So let me open the live well for you, because the water's been going on and filling it. So look, we've got a little aquarium there. Yeah. And that guy is a little bigger.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Cable's Eyewear Retainer. Lightweight, comfortable, adjustable, and waterproof.
When it comes to choosing crankbaits for walleye fishing, not all crankbaits will work. I find you have to have the right action from a crankbait, and it has to have the right diving depth. When you're fishing around weeds, if you're fishing around weed lines, you can use a crankbait that will dive down to 10, 12 feet. If you're fishing right in the weeds, you may not want it to go down past 5 to 7 feet. Very important that you don't get any weeds on your crankbait, because as soon as you do, it kills the action. I find that crankbaits that have a nice wobble like this from side to side and a lazy side to side action work best. I also find that you don't have to really crank retrieve it like you might for bass when you're fishing over a rocky bottom. You want a nice lazy side to side retrieve. To achieve that, it helps to use a little bit stiffer rod and use a braided line. That way, even if you hit a weed, you can actually rip the line right through the weeds, and then you'll see the weeds come up to the surface. And a lot of times, after you cut a weed, you'll get a fish to hit. Cheryl, they're getting bigger, look.
Wow, look at that.
Nice walleye. Hopefully he's not gonna,
Oh.
Head shakes. Okay, Cheryl.
Get the...
Man, this is number 4. If you can grab the net, that would be awesome.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Most people wouldn't fish in the middle of the day. You're doing great, Cheryl. If you fall in, I'll just grab your top. It's really strong, right? It's not going to rip off.
Right.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to try getting him out, but I don't know if one of the hooks is going to get stuck in the net. Look, just one. So let's see here. They have been pretty aggressive because the primary hookup is the front hook. So that tells me that when it felt the crankbait, it went for the head. A lot of times when they're hooked just on the back hook, it means kind of like they're not really aggressive. So this guy hit really well. You're gonna be treating a lot of people, Cheryl. You know, today we had perfect conditions. It was a little windy, but the temperature went up to 32 Celsius. And it was a real privilege to fish with Cheryl Hopkins. Cheryl I've known for many years, and she came up with this invention called bait cloud. which is that ball that is formulated with fish scent and bio glitter inside. And you drop it in the water, and it starts to bubble, to effervescent. It releases air bubbles. And as that's dropping to the bottom and then continuing to dissolve on the bottom, it's actually attracting fish to it because of the scent and also because of that water column that comes up. And the glitter looks like bait fish that have been nailed by other predator fish. So we had a chance to use it on the weed lines, which is amazing. I've just used it for bass fishing, you know, especially smallmouth bass, and for pike in the wintertime. And what we were doing is we would pick a weed line that looked good close to deep water, and then Cheryl would drop the bait cloud balls about 30 feet apart. And when we got to the end, we'd go back to the top. And it was funny because when she dropped the first bait cloud ball, within like, I'm gonna say a minute or two, maybe 5 minutes, bang, I hooked the next walleye, which was amazing. Keep them in the water. Don't lift them out of the water, so don't reel up too much line. You know what? That might be the biggest one so far.
You did a really good job messing that up there. It's hooked up pretty good.
Well, if I let him wiggle a little bit more, he'll probably get out. Well, the lure, I know that you can get the lure out, so that's not a problem. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Do the hook.
Okay,
Do the hook.
got
You
him.
got it?
I
Okay.
got him.
Now this way. I heard that if you hold him out a little bit, he looks bigger. You can suspend him.
Okay, there we go.
Nice walleye. Aren't they a pretty fish?
Gorgeous.
They can see really well, especially in low light. That's why they call them walled-eyed. They've got
Okay.
like that glass look in their eye like
Yeah.
a cat. You know what? I think he needs to go into the little live well. Are you
Okay.
ready to put him in?
Sure.
And then, I don't know, you probably have enough. That's number 4.
I think that
Well done.
might be at our limit.
When it comes to casting crankbaits, I normally use a spinning outfit, especially if you're into windy conditions. You know, today we had winds that were blowing on and off, even though they were only calling for winds up to 8 miles an hour. I think the winds were gusting up to 12 miles an hour. So with a spinning outfit, especially when you're casting a light 9-centimeter long crankbait, you can even cast it efficiently into the wind. Bait cloudfish. Yeah. Look at gorgeous walleye. I don't know if he's gonna break my leader. Oh, I'm gonna try getting him in the boat.
There you go.
Now, normally I wouldn't suggest doing that because that's pretty heavy to lift up on your leader because I'm using a fluorocarbon leader, but it worked. It's kind of a cool tool, eh?
Yeah.
And pull back, give it a jerk. That's it, perfect. You know, if we didn't have any in the live well, I'd keep it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we don't want to be hogs, right?
No.
We just want to catch hogs.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna kneel down for this one on that nice mat. Are you gonna take off fast like a pike? Yeah, they are. They've got real character here. Okay, you know what?
That's great.
Let's
Oops.
drop a bait cloud.
Okay,
Another one.
sure.
I like this. This is fun. Bait clouding fish. You know what? They don't stand a chance.
I know.
I'm glad you brought a few packs. You should have worn something bait cloud. Or just wait. You are wearing some. Okay, go ahead. Let's drop it in because we're going to come back on the spot.
All
I
right.
like marking spots.
Sure.
Nice throw. That's going to go right to the bottom. Oh, yeah. Look it. It didn't start dissolving until it was about 3 feet. Perfect. You know what? I'm going to pepper that area. You know, when walleye anglers fish for them along the bottom, where they may not necessarily be feeding, where they have to use a finesse presentation using a jig and a minnow or a jig and a plastic grub or a live bait rig or a worm harness along the bottom, the takes are very light. And a lot of times, you know, you have to just watch your rod tip to see if it's actually a fish or whether you're dragging on bottom. Well, let me tell you, when you fish with a crankbait, especially for these aggressive fish, they hit more like a musky strike. They come up, and I believe that they can turn it on up to 20 miles an hour or faster. They hit the crankbait, and they normally turn to leave. So the hits are very strong, and a lot of times they will hit right when you take the lure or go to take the lure out of the water. And I think it's not that they follow the lure up, they've been suspended at that depth, maybe 2 or 3 feet below the surface over the weeds, and then they see the crankbait just before it comes to the surface, and it looks like a bait fish that's gonna come out of the water, and they grab it. I've had walleye hit the side of the boat, and also had walleye with their mouth open where I've actually pulled the crankbait right out of their mouth like a bass right beside the boat. Very aggressive strikes. Guess what, Cheryl?
I need to get the net.
No, you need to keep casting.
Okay.
I want you to hook one, okay?
Okay.
So that one was just off the weed line.
Yep.
Actually, where we dropped the bait cloud ball earlier. It's right on the edge. So I aimed right for that cottage. See
Wow,
that?
look at that one.
Isn't it beautiful? See the cottage down there? Can
Yeah.
you reach that cottage on the point?
Yeah.
That's your line, okay? I'm gonna let you fish at the front. I'm gonna walk him to the back. I'm gonna try landing him with my hand again so that we don't have to deal with, you know, getting the treble hooks out of the net. Remember what I said about them being hooked on the back hook if we're gonna get them? Because I missed 3 hooks, Cheryl?
Yeah.
This one's got 1 hook only in its mouth.
And it's the back
Right
hook?
at the back, yeah. He doesn't want to come in. If I try to lift him, that hook is going to pull out. How are you doing there? Yeah, you found the weeds. This is good.
Do you want me to get the net, or
No,
are you good?
you know what? If he gets off, it's fine. He grabbed a bunch of weeds. Okay, got him. So I was just going to show you. Let me just walk up there. So look at, I was going to, you know when I missed the other ones?
Yeah.
You know how earlier we were hooking them with the front hook in their
Right,
mouth? Look.
yeah.
1 hook only, and it's the back hook, not the front hook.
Right.
So that tells me that they're really, you know, not speeding up to like 30 miles an hour to grab it. For some reason, maybe because, I don't know, conditions have changed, the wind's not blowing from the east. They're beautiful. They are gorgeous fish.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they're all about the same size. We got a couple of bigger ones, but no real monsters. Okay, I don't think he's gonna take long. Beautiful. Oh, man. Come on, face that way. Are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? He's just getting his breath. Freedom! Then he takes off like a bullet. You know, when it comes to finding weed beds, I'm not talking about weed beds that you can visually see right on shore, like the weeds that you cast for when you're fishing for bass, largemouth bass especially. I'm talking about weeds that can be like a 1/4 mile out from shore, and they're growing in open water. Those are the weeds that you're most likely to find larger feeding walleyes throughout the day. My goal is to fish those deep weed beds and weed lines and to intercept the fish that accidentally swim up onto them. So to do that, you pretty well have to use electronics. You know, I use my Raymarine, and you can see where the weed beds come out on the hydrographic chart, but a lot of times, because the seasons vary, you could have an early or late spring, the weeds aren't always where the chart shows them. So that's where you have to use the fish finder mode, and you can tell as soon as you see those weeds starting to appear, like nice vertical lines coming up and then heavier, that's where you stop the boat, and then you follow that weed line with your electric and try to cast as close to the weeds as possible, and you should find the walleye. That fish, Cheryl, hit right in front of the boat. It's funny, I was just about to lift my lure up again. It just goes to show you. Come on. Are you a nice walleye again? You know, I cranked the drags down on both rods so we get a really good hook set. Cast, cast. You don't want to wait.
I want to see
There might be another one. Yeah, I want to see it too. It's tugging really well. Oh, it's a big one. Bigger than all the other ones.
I think so.
Oh, you know, you haven't seen it yet. Watch. If it stays on, it's going down in those weeds. You can see from the bend in the rod. These are medium action spinning rods, and they work great. Yeah, this guy's bigger than the other ones. So I may get you to get the net in a minute. See him? Look how big he is.
Yeah, yeah, let's get the net.
Yeah, he's bigger. I like your way of thinking. Yeah, once you saw it, yeah, let's get the net. Big head shakes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready, get him in there, scoop him up, up. You go.
Oh,
Is he heavier?
heavy.
Is he heavier than the other ones? Here, I'll come down there to give you a hand. I think so. Okay, I've got the pliers. You know what? Let's put him back here on the casting platform. Is he big? Is he big or what?
Woo!
I got to get a picture of you holding him because I've got my phone ready. Don't drop it, okay?
I got
And in
her.
a minute, you're going to put your hand underneath.
Okay.
Let me grab my
Yep.
phone. Chaos here. Okay, I think I put it in here. Let me turn it on because we gotta brag about this. This is going to be Mike Borovic. Look what we caught. Big smile, like you're having fun. We got it. Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get you to put it in the water gently and revive it. It's a female. You got to tender loving care. Okay, and very carefully slide your hand out of its mouth and hold it. And you know what? You're not going to be able to do it. Good job. Look, that was teamwork. Okay, we're going to do this, here, this. Big cloud.
Yeah.
We dropped the balls here. This is awesome. You know, walleye aren't known for their fighting abilities normally, but I find when you get them on crankbaits and they're really pumped up and they're searching for food, not only do they hit hard, but they fight really hard. Remember also, we're getting them on light outfits, spinning outfits. We're not trolling with them with like trolling rods or getting them out of deep water. So those walleyes, because they're in the upper 15 feet of the water column, have a lot of fight. I've lost a lot from the hooks being pulled out, especially when you get them on the surface. Cheryl, nice fish. He might have gotten
diving under the
You want to
boat.
come down here?
Sure.
Come on down. The air's warmer down here. That is a nice walleye. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to mess around. Okay, now what? Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
You sure you're ready? You're pumped? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Here, okay, go ahead. Go for it. Go for it. Come on. You got to be like
I'm going.
not decisive. You know what I mean? Get it under there. Get it. What are you doing? Come on. Come on.
Okay, can I hold them like that?
You can
maybe?
try, just don't get spined. Nice walleye. You know, some people are going, man, they're getting those walleye in the middle of the day, nice sunny day. Look how nice and plump it is.
Yeah.
That is a gorgeous fish.
And there it goes.
I was hoping it was going to soak you. Well done. So I don't know. How are your wrists? Do we like keep casting or do we go and have a nice dinner?
I think a nice
chat?
dinner sounds good.
Okay. Okay, let's do that. That was awesome, Cheryl.
What a great day.
I'm going to put your seat back down
Okay.
so that you're in a comfy position.
Canadian Sport Fishing has been brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha, conquer outdoors. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Blue Cam, a cleaner running engine for a cleaner environment.
You can see now we're in like 18 feet of water, 20 feet, and the bottom is pretty clear, just the odd weed. And you can also see our trail here, how we kind of, you know, we're drifting with the wind and I'm pulsing it a little bit. So when I've gone inside here, on that inside line, I'm too far in. I want to be right on that edge. So even though we have a hydrographic chart, the chart isn't 100% true because the weeds change. They change yearly, they change monthly, seasonally. So they die off and then you get new weed growth. So you have to really depend on seeing the weeds with the fish finder side.